Martin! Gina is in Detroit. She wanted to surprise you.
They offered me a national talk show. So guess what? We both gonna be working in LA.
But Martin, unfortunately, you know, show business at a certain point in his life got the best of him. And when that happens, you see it happening. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Tisha Campbell just confirmed the awful Martin Lawrence rumors. And what came next had fans speechless. Because this wasn't just about old cast beef or behind-the-scenes drama. It was about something way more serious. A lawsuit that accused Martin Lawrence of harassment, the awkward reunion that followed, and the legal agreement that kept everybody quiet for years.
Let's heal. Let's keep in touch. Let's not let all this time go by.
What were federal investigators in tactical gear looking for at Sean Diddy Combs' home in Los Angeles and Miami? Homeland Security says the raids were part of a months-long federal investigation, including sex. What were federal investigators in tactical gear looking for at Sean Diddy Combs' home in Los Angeles and Miami? Homeland Security says the raids were part of a months-long federal investigation, including.
And between Martin's health scares, emotional breakdowns, and the eerie silence from Hollywood, yeah, this story only gets darker. In 1997, something serious happened between two big stars from the TV show Martin.
I said, Mama used to say, take your time, young man.
Tisha Campbell, who played Gina, filed a lawsuit against Martin Lawrence, the main star of the show. She said Martin had been sexually harassing her. That means he was making her feel very uncomfortable in a way that was not okay. She also said he used bad language toward her and even touched her in ways that she did not want. This didn't happen just once. It happened many times, according to her. She said it was getting worse and worse over time. Because of all this, Tisha felt like she could not continue working in such a toxic place. So, she left the show for a while.
You must be Martin. Gina is in Detroit. She wanted to surprise you.
Tisha's lawsuit claimed that Martin Lawrence created a workplace where she felt unsafe. She didn't want to be near him, and she refused to do scenes with him. This was a big deal because they were the main couple on the show. Her decision to leave made fans confused and sad. Everyone could feel that something wasn't right. The show tried to continue without their scenes together, but it wasn't the same. People noticed that they were never in the same room on screen anymore. It changed the feeling of the show, and soon after, the show came to an end.
They offered me a national talk show. So guess what? We both gonna be working in LA.
The lawsuit was never taken to court for a full trial. Instead, it was settled quietly outside of court. The exact details were not shared with the public. After the settlement, Tisha came back to the show, but under one strict rule. She would not do any scenes with Martin. This rule stayed in place until the show ended. It was clear that their relationship, both personal and professional, had been damaged deeply.
I love you.
Years later, in 2022, something surprising happened. The cast of Martin got back together for a reunion. The reunion was meant to celebrate 30 years since the show first came on TV. It was a big deal for fans, especially those who grew up watching the show. Before the reunion aired, Tisha spoke about Martin Lawrence and the past. She said that she and Martin had worked hard to fix their relationship. She talked about forgiveness.
Let's heal. Let's keep in touch. Let's not let all this time go by.
She said that even though things were hard before, they chose to move forward and focus on the good memories. She said they wanted the reunion to be about what they had achieved, not about the bad things that happened. In an interview with CBS Mornings, Tisha shared how happy she was to see the rest of the cast again. She said they laughed and joked like old times. It felt like being back on the set again. She didn't talk too much about the lawsuit because there was a legal agreement that stopped her from doing so. But she said the reunion reminded her of all the good things they had done together on the show. She also said that healing and growth were important, and that both she and Martin had come a long way since those difficult times. Back in 2020, Martin Lawrence also talked about the lawsuit during an interview with GQ magazine. He said the claims made by Tisha were not true. He called the whole situation Bulls****T and said he decided to walk away from the show, not because he was forced out, but because he wanted to. He said people thought he was canceled, but that was not the case. He just felt it was time to leave. Martin said he had nothing but love for Tisha. He said he still cared about her and her family. Even though they never talked in detail about the lawsuit, he said there was no hate from his side. Tisha later talked about that interview during an appearance on The Talk. She said she was surprised by Martin's comments. She said she didn't expect him to talk about the past like that. Because of a confidentiality agreement, something like a legal promise, she could not say too much about what really happened. She said that some people told her to ignore what Martin said, while others told her to speak out. In the end, she decided to reach out to Martin herself. She said she called him and he answered right away. He told her not to read too much into what he said, and that some people were trying to bring up the past for drama. He told her that they were okay, and that he still had love for her and her family. Tisha said that made her feel better.
I said, Mama used to say, take your time, young man.
The reunion of the Martin cast was set to air on B++ on June 16th. The special show would bring back the original stars, including Martin Lawrence, Tisha Campbell, Tichina Arnold, and Carl Anthony Payne II. One cast member, Tommy Ford, could not be there because he passed away in 2016. He died from a ruptured artery in his stomach. The reunion show was hosted by comedian Affion Crockett. The cast met on the original set of the show and shared their favorite memories. They laughed, cried, and celebrated their work together.
No, Carl, we're not winning an Emmy tonight. Please, sit your butt down.
Please.
Sit down.
What you mean?
Carl, we're presenting an award, not being presented with one, knucklehead.
Even though Martin Lawrence always denied the claims against him, and Tisha never gave full details because of the agreement, fans were glad to see them back together. It was good to see them act like friends again, even if they had once been hurt by each other. Time can help people heal. Their story shows that people can change, learn, and sometimes forgive each other. But it also reminds us that serious accusations like sexual harassment and abuse should never be ignored. While Tisha and Martin were working to make peace and celebrate their past, another well-known star, Sean "Diddy" Combs, is facing very serious legal problems right now.
You feel me? Do that, do that, do it, do that, do that.
In 2024, a man named Rodney Jones filed a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy. Jones said that Diddy sexually abused him, tried to groom him, and was part of. The lawsuit also said that other people close to Diddy helped him do these bad things. Jones said they helped because they wanted to stay close to Diddy's money and fame. Diddy has denied all the claims. His lawyers said the accusations are lies, and that they have strong proof to show he did nothing wrong. Still, the case has made headlines all over the world. It has brought more attention to how people with power in the music and entertainment world sometimes use that power in bad ways. Jones gave more details in his court papers. He said Diddy's team used other famous people to try and win his trust. One name that came up was music producer Stevie J. Jones said Diddy knew he liked Stevie J, so Diddy used that to get closer to him. There were also other names in the legal documents, but some were hidden for privacy reasons. One was a rapper from Philadelphia who dated Nicki Minaj. Another was a famous R&B singer who had been in trouble before. Also mentioned was Young Miami, not her directly, but someone in her family. That person was accused of touching Jones inappropriately. The documents even said Diddy's team had connections to big names like Prince Harry. The court papers did not say Prince Harry did anything wrong, but they said Diddy's people used these big names to impress others and cover up their actions. Rodney Jones also said that Diddy wanted to use his friendship with Bishop T.D. Jakes, a well-known pastor, to protect his image.
My lovely wife celebrates you. Stand up, honey. Show him I did good. You're the finest grandmama I ever saw in my life. 5 kids, 9 grandkids, and still rocking it. He can still twerk for the Lord.
Again, the court papers did not say TD Jakes did anything bad, but it showed how powerful people sometimes try to use their relationships to avoid bad press. Another important name mentioned was Cassie Ventura. Cassie is Diddy's former girlfriend. In 2023, she also filed a lawsuit against him. She said that Diddy had abused her for years. She said he hit her, gave her drugs, and controlled her life. That case ended quickly, and the details were kept private. Diddy said he did not do any of the things she claimed. Then, in 2024, a video came out. It showed Diddy in a hotel hallway in 2016. In the video, it looked like he was hitting and kicking Cassie. This video shocked many people. It made the past claims feel more real. After the video came out, Diddy made a public apology. He said he was ashamed of what he did and that he was in a bad place in his life at that time. But he said that was no excuse. He said he was very sorry and felt disgusted by his own behavior. After the video came out, Diddy made a public apology. He said he was sorry for what he did. His lawyers are now trying to explain his actions. They said the video only shows a small part of a long relationship. They called the relationship complex and said it lasted many years. They also said it was a private matter and people should not judge him based on a short video. But many people are angry and they want answers. The charges against Diddy are very serious. They include things that are hard to talk about. The case mentions freak-offs. These are events where Diddy reportedly planned and directed sexual acts. The court papers say he watched these events and even filmed them. Some of these acts involved both men and women. It is also said that drugs were used during these events.
Got on a plane at 5:30 a.m. Go to this party. I think half the people there were butt naked. You would have loved it.
The drugs were given to people so they would obey and not say no. These events could go on for days. The people involved were said to be under Diddy's control during that time. The situation is very disturbing to many. The court says Diddy also hurt people in other ways. They say he abused people physically, emotionally, and verbally. There are also claims that he threatened people. He may have said he would ruin their lives or hurt them if they spoke up. The court papers say he even kidnapped someone and started a fire.
That it looks like from the testimony that Diddy, along with an associate, went to Cuddy's house, broke in, burglarized the house.
These actions are very serious and can lead to a long prison sentence if found guilty. The court believes he did these things to keep his secrets hidden and protect his image. In March 2024, the government stepped in. Homeland Security raided 2 of Diddy's homes. This means law enforcement searched his houses looking for proof. They took computers, phones, and other items. These raids made the news and shocked the public. It showed how serious the case had become.
What were federal investigators in tactical gear looking for at Sean Diddy Combs' home in Los Angeles and Miami? Homeland Security says the raids were part of a months-long federal investigation, including...
Many people started to see Diddy not just as a music star, but as someone who might have done terrible things. The raids were a turning point. After that, more people began to speak out, and more stories started to come out. In April 2024, more charges were added to Diddy's case. His lawyers asked the judge to give them more time to prepare. They said they needed 2 extra months. But the judge, Arun Subramanian, said no. He said the request was made too late, so the trial moved forward. Jury selection started in May 2024 at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, New York. Choosing a jury is an important part of any trial. These are the people who will listen to the case and decide if Diddy is guilty or not. The court gave each possible juror a questionnaire. It asked about their views on sex, drugs, alcohol, and violence. The court wanted to make sure the jurors would be fair and honest. Diddy's lawyer said some people might feel shy talking about private things in public. That is why they asked for the jurors to write their answers instead of speaking out loud. They hoped this would help people share the truth without being embarrassed. They also said this case has private and sensitive details, and people might not be comfortable discussing them openly. The judge agreed to use the questionnaire, but the trial went on as planned. At the same time, people began noticing that actor Martin Lawrence was being seen with Diddy more often. People started wondering why Martin was spending time with Diddy while all these legal problems were happening. They were seen together at public events, on social media, and in old interviews. Some thought Martin was just being a friend. Others believed he might know more than he was saying. Some events stood out. For example, in January 2006, Diddy and Martin both appeared on a show called 106 & Park. They looked happy and friendly. Later in 2020, Diddy congratulated Martin and actor Will Smith on the success of Bad Boys for Life. Diddy said nice things about the movie on social media. It showed support for Martin's career. These actions made people wonder how close they really are. In Hollywood, when someone is seen often with a person facing big trouble, people start to talk. Some fans and news people think Martin might be helping Diddy behind the scenes. They wonder if Martin is giving advice or money, or even helping with legal matters. Others think Martin might be a witness. Maybe he knows what really happened, but he is staying quiet. There are even wild guesses that Martin is deeply involved. Some say these are just rumors, but the timing of their meetings makes people curious. Some people believe Martin is only being a friend and nothing more. They say there is no proof he is part of Diddy's legal problems. They believe Martin is not involved, and people should stop spreading gossip. But when someone is famous and the world is watching, every little move gets attention. Whether Martin is just a friend or something more, the public wants to know. But not long after that, something scary happened to Martin. He had a stroke, and it was almost fatal. A stroke is when something goes wrong in your brain, and it can make you very sick or even die. Thankfully, Martin survived. When Dave visited him, Martin still made jokes. He laughed and said it was the best sleep he ever had.
And Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life. That's how tough he is.
That made Dave smile. It also showed how strong Martin was. Even after something so serious, he found a way to laugh. That's the kind of person Martin is. Tough, funny, and never giving up. However, things didn't stay good for long. One day, Martin was seen on the street yelling and waving a gun. He was shouting, "They're trying to kill me!" This shocked everyone. Dave didn't know what to think. How could someone so strong, smart, and talented act like that? It made Dave stop and think about Hollywood. He started to wonder if the world of fame was doing something bad to people. Why did it seem like so many stars were breaking down?
So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, "They are trying to kill me"? Yeah. What's going on?
Dave talked about other stars too. He remembered when singer Mariah Carey had a breakdown. He also spoke about his own experience. Dave felt so much pressure that he left the country and went to Africa. He said people call stars crazy too quickly. He doesn't like that word. He believes people like Martin aren't crazy. They are just going through something hard.
Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you.
Dave thinks the problem might not be the person, but the world they are living in, Hollywood. Steve White, who once lived with Martin and wrote for The Martin Show, said Martin was like Mike Tyson. He said Martin had a big heart but was misunderstood. That's a deep thing to say. It means that Martin would do anything for someone he cared about, but people didn't always see that side of him. Another person who noticed the change was Jamie Masada. He owns a comedy club called The Laugh Factory in Los Angeles. He said that once Martin became famous, he changed. He started walking around with bodyguards and acting different. Jamie said fame got to Martin's head. Some people can handle fame well, but others have a hard time. Even Martin said in an interview that fame was very hard. He said he thought he was ready for it, but he wasn't.
But Martin, unfortunately, show business at a certain point in his life got the best of him. And when that happens, you see it happening, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Martin spoke about how his life was falling apart. He said he was working too much, his marriage was failing, and he wasn't sleeping enough. He also admitted that his temper and drinking caused problems, but he's been trying to change. He said he's learning to stay calm and not let things get out of hand. He still talks to his ex-wife, Patricia, because they share a daughter, Jasmine. That shows he's trying to do the right thing for his family. Some people said Martin went to rehab, but he said that's not true. He said he only went for one day and realized he needed to fix things on his own. He didn't want to depend on a program. He said, "The flip side of having nothing to lose is having something to gain. That means when you've lost everything, you can still rebuild and grow stronger." Martin knows he's not just living for himself. Then, in August 1999, Martin went through something very serious. It was a health scare that almost ended his life. At the time, Martin's career was going great. He had many fans, and he was getting ready for a new movie. He wanted to lose some weight before filming, so he thought jogging would help. Like many people, he believed running would make him healthier. But Martin made a very dangerous mistake without knowing it. On a very hot summer day, he decided to go jogging. To sweat more and lose weight faster, he wore several layers of clothes under a nylon jogging suit. This was a very bad idea because the temperature outside was already very high, and the extra clothes made it worse. As Martin ran in the heat, his body couldn't handle it. His body temperature started rising very fast. Normally, the human body stays around 98 degrees. But as Martin kept running in all those clothes, his body temperature went up to 107 degrees. That is very dangerous. At this point, the body begins to shut down. Martin collapsed from heat stroke. He passed out and could not wake up. People quickly called an ambulance and he was rushed to the hospital. Doctors were very worried. They put him on a machine to help him breathe.